come to the point in time in like the actual company where we might have the opportunity to come home, and I'm kind of at that point. And so, and I'll just go ahead and be honest, it's just scary. For the thought of it is the thought of coming home is like really scary, just because I've always worked like a normal corporate job, and so I'm gonna like ask a couple questions to like Kelsey, Kayla, and Autumn to see what their day to day is like and how they keep their self focused and know that they have to do everything every day and just motivate themselves, because you have to be very disciplined to do this. So if you just want to like introduce yourselves, you three, and then I can ask a couple questions. You can start, Kelsey.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Kelsey Thornton. I'm a triple diamond. I came home full time about 9 months after I joined. So I was actually still a diamond. And I think, yeah, I was still a diamond. And my husband was a diamond as well. And we just decided, I was making way more than average diamond paychecks. And I was like, if I can make this much money like part time, like what if I come home and do this full time and kind of commit more time? Because I did not I love doing this, but I got to the point where it was like I wanted to do it more, but there just weren't enough hours in the day, it felt like. And I'm sure all of you guys at some point have felt that way, where you're like, oh my gosh, like this is what I love doing. And like you get caught up in a conversation and you're like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, what am I doing with my life? And I mean, not that still doesn't happen to me, but I think it was harder when I knew I had to get up for a other job the next morning. And so I came home, and then I was pregnant, so I knew that I was going to also like have an adjustment there. And one of the things that I'll just start off by saying is that when you're a work from home mom, or, your kids go to daycare, whatever your situation is, or you're just single and you work from home, it's always an adjustment. And it's an adjustment because it's still even an adjustment when you have to go to work every single day. Like that's an adjustment about how your schedule looks. So you're never going to 100% have it figured out. So don't ever put that pressure on yourself, because I feel like when you do that, you're never going to meet those expectations and you'll always feel like you're falling short. And so you have to just make sure you're giving yourself some grace, because there is going to be a transition stage when you're going to be like, what the heck am I doing? Like, I don't even know where my day went. And so the biggest kind of thing that I remember when I start my day is make sure that I run the day and the day does not run me. So that has just been like super helpful. And so we'll go over some other things, but that's just kind of it.
Okay. Awesome. I like the fact that you were a diamond when you came home, because that's what I am. And, I'm boxed for double diamond, but I'm not there yet. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not 100% sure when I will come home for sure.
Yeah. And that was like at the point too, where I also kind of like work better under pressure. And I think most people do. They might not like it, but a lot of people do work better under pressure. And I was like, you know what? If I'm home full time, like I have to hit double. I have to hit triple. Like there's no excuse for me, to not hit those things. Whereas before you can always fall back on, oh, well, I'm working full time, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. But like when you come home, like I know that for me, it was kind of like I needed that pressure to like push myself to the next level.
I understand completely. That's where I'm at right now. Autumn, if you want to go ahead.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Autumn Fall. I do this business together, and we are double diamond leaders with the company for about 10 months now. And it's kind of crazy because we came home on month 4 when we hit diamond, and a lot of people wait a long time to come home. And for me, I made the decision that I'm like Kelsey. I work really well under pressure. If I don't have something nipping at my butt to work, like I just find myself slacking, to be really honest with you guys. So I came home as a diamond, and I told my husband, I was like, we're going to make this work. We saw the vision when we went Ruby. We went Ruby our first month, and we saw the vision that we could really make some extra money. And we were so miserable at our old jobs that we knew that we were going to be happy doing this. Hunter is super into fitness and health, and this just seemed like the perfect fit. I'd already lost 50 pounds with the products. I knew that once we hit diamond, like I was going to be good at this. I was going to make it my full-time income. And I also saw so many lives changing, like underneath me, like Nicole is in my downline, and just to see her life changing, like that was 100% a reason for me to take this full steam ahead. And I knew that if I could come home and I could work this business, I would do it 100%, 110% every single day. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys it's been easy. It's been really, really hard, and I'm excited to talk about all the hard things, because I think it's important that we shed some light on the things that all of us have struggled with. That way, that you people who are thinking about coming home can actually, like, see the struggles before you get in there, and hopefully we can like help you navigate around the things that we've already done and messed up with. But we love being at home. And I'm super excited for the Zoom to hear, all the questions and things like that.
Awesome. Thank you. Kayla?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Kelsey knows my internet is sketchy.
I always have to like freaking give an intro to Kayla and apologize for her internet because it's so horrible. It's not your internet. So if you're like, I can't see Kayla, I can't hear her, it's just her internet. Just bear with it. It will jump back in.
Okay, so I am Kayla Gilbert. I'm a triple diamond. I came home. I waited a while to come home. And honestly, like for me, I was praying. I was praying for, for God to give me that, okay, it's time to come home. I had a really awesome job. I worked in public relations and marketing for a hospital, and it was my dream job, like what I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I loved it. I loved the people that I worked with. So there really wasn't like a reason for me to quit other than I wanted to make this business work, and I wanted to be at home with Austin. So I joined in March of last year, and I also came home when I was a diamond, but I knew that I was going double, like all the, everything was lined up for me to go double. And so I turned in my notice at work in January, and I came home in February of this year, went double diamond, JB went diamond, and I went triple diamond. So back to back to back. I was a little bit more cautious. I just, we just wanted to make sure the timing was right, and we just had to, pray about it. And, but like Autumn and Kelsey said, I knew that if I came home, I would work really, really hard to make sure those promotions happened. Because it had to work. So yeah, that's a little bit about how I came home.
I think that's one thing we'll all have in common is like when you choose to leave a job that if you clock in, clock out of, you're going to get a check. But when you come home and you have, you're working this kind of business, you're going to have to work, or you're not going to have an income. There's nothing to fall back on. So I think that's very common for all of us, because that's what terrifies me. But so coming from a 9-to-5 job, I work, I'd have my work hours to come home, and I don't work anymore. I don't have to worry about it. It's kind of there. The stress is gone. So what does your day look like when you are like, how do you schedule it out? Do you just have certain times when you work each day? Is it different every day? Do you organize it? Like, I know some people are OCD and have to have everything organized, but some people just kind of go with it. As long as they do something during the day, then they're fine. So Kelsey, how does your day look like?
Yeah. It'll be really interesting. Like, I hope to learn from this Zoom too, because like I said, I'm still trying to figure things out, because the cool thing about working from home is that it doesn't really matter what it looks like as long as you get it done. Okay. And that's what I've come to realize. And so for me, it looks different every day, because like I am not a routine person. Like, I'm not a huge fan of routine. And I think that's why I love working from home so much, is because it doesn't have to be the same every day, because monotony is like, so like that is like horrible to me. Like, I feel like that is so boring, and like some people love it, and that's totally fine. Like, it's amazing for them. But for me, like, I like it to be exciting and new. So like some days I'm going to Starbucks. Some days I'm working from home. Like, the cool thing is I just remember so many times feeling like, God, if I only had a day to just like catch up on laundry, or if I only had a day to like just catch up on cleaning the house. Like, I remember thinking that so many times when I was working, and like now I get that. And so if laundry needs to be done, for me, laundry is getting done, but I'm listening to self-development. And so all these mindless tasks like laundry, doing the dishes, picking up the house, like my phone is literally like in my bra. It was so funny the other day, my daughter like stuck her phone up her shirt and I was like, what is she doing? And I was like, oh, duh. Like she sees me do that all the time. But like I'll just stick it in my shirt and like listen to an audiobook like as I'm picking up the house. And or YouTube or whatever the case might be. So for me, self-development is even more important when you're at home. And here's why. When you go to work, like at a physical place, there is somebody that's keeping you in check. There is somebody making sure you're there. You're going to get in trouble or you're not going to get paid if you're not there for those hours. And when you're at home, the only person keeping you in check is you and your paycheck. And so for me, that was kind of like a big wake up call because I'm very like self-motivated naturally, but there are days when like, if nobody's pulling you out of bed and like, you don't have to go anywhere, it can be hard to just be like, oh, I'm just going to work from home. And I struggle with that at the beginning at first, especially because I was pregnant and I was like, oh, I'm pregnant. Like, you know, whatever, I can take a quick nap here or there, which you definitely can. But I also felt like I had to be disciplined. So getting up and going to a place is something that I would highly suggest you do 2 to 3 days a week. Here's the reason is because even if you do have young kids, you need a break, period. Like, period. I mean, every single person on the Zoom loves their kids. Like, nobody does not love their kids. But at the end of the day, if you have kids, you have to get out of the house because your kids will go stir crazy. You'll go stir crazy. And so it is very important that you set up either play dates or you set up like, hey, Mondays, Wednesdays, I'm going to Starbucks from this time to this time or whatever your local coffee shop is. So my day-to-day is really different. However, what I'm doing in those days is always the same. So there's a checklist on the team pages that I use. And it's basically like there's 4 categories: self-development, adding to your network, messaging, and posting. And so, you know, for me, that's the cool thing is like, I always am like able to post like lifestyle posts in the middle of the day and showing people like, hey, I'm literally like out in my backyard when it's like 79 degrees. And I really try, and like those people that aren't at home yet and you really want to be home, I really encourage you to not like hate the feelings that you're going through. And it's okay to like, you know, not really enjoy what you're going through, but feel them and remember those feelings because other people are feeling those things. Okay. And that is how you can make amazing posts. Because for me, I remember like I hated going to work when it was nice out. Like the first nice day of the year, I would literally be like, this shit is for the birds. Like, I am not doing this next year. Like, I remember like getting so pissed, being like, what is this life? Like, no, I hate like, and so I remember that so vividly. So like, I always post about like being outside and like working because I know there's somebody who hates being at a cubicle or like wants to just be outside when it's nice. You know, it's not hard to be inside on a rainy day because everybody's inside. But when it's nice out, you know, those are the times that you really want to like talk about working from home and how nice it is to just be able to enjoy the day. So write down those things that you're feeling, the things that you don't like about what you're going through, because you're not the only person who feels that way. That was like a really long answer, so I apologize. I don't know where
I love it because I think, you know, I do that. I sit in the office, you know, before they rip me out because of my swelling and stuff for pregnancy. But I sit in the office every day and I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to be here. I hate this place. It's pretty outside. I could be walking and not gaining this weight in pregnancy. Like all these thoughts are going through my head and I'm like, it's all because I'm here. And it's not that I wasn't faithful for the job, but it's just, I don't want to be there. I want to be home doing what I want to do and still making the same money, like enjoying that freedom that I get to all day. Y'all get to enjoy it. I'm like, envy.
And I think too that like, you know, think about the things that are hard when you're working, like doctor's appointments. I mean, that was like always such a pain because I'd be like, oh my God, like, do I have a meeting at this time? Or like, do I have something to go to? Like, can I even make it to their doctor appointments? And like, now I can schedule doctor appointments in the middle of the day. Like if my kids get sick, like I just take them to like the little like urgent care for kids. So it's like, it is such not a big deal. And those are the little things that I remember just like stressing out about. So if you feel any of those things or you hear your coworkers complain, and you guys are always complaining about the same thing, don't just hear that, write that, feel it. Like let yourself feel that so you can remember it and that you can know like you're not the only person feeling that way and your post is going to touch somebody else.
I love that. I'll definitely keep that in mind. I love that. Autumn, do you want to tell us about your day to day?
Yeah, I think it's so crazy. Kelsey, we're similar. Like I feel like we're similar, but the thing is, y'all, I can't even explain like every single month that I've been home, it's changed dramatically because I'm learning so much. Like just like what Kelsey said, like you can't come into coming home and expect to know every single thing. Like I mean, I've fallen on my face a few times, like, getting comfortable and not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'll be honest, it took a few paycheck drops to get my butt in gear. And so just like Kelsey said, like, you have to be self-motivated 100%. So I start my day like 100% with like self-development. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to, like, I don't care if my child is screaming, running around. I don't care if Hunter has a million things to do. Like, I am going to put YouTube Red on. By the way, if you guys don't have YouTube Red, it's the YouTube app that like lets you close out of YouTube and like do other things. I think it's genius. And I just set my phone up and I cook breakfast for my family and I listen to self-development. And I'm like, soaking that in. That's how I start my day, And the thing is when we were working jobs, I never got to see my family, like ever. I never got to see Hunter. And they're talking about thoughts that you were having, like when you were, you're living this life that you're not at home. All I wanted was to be with my family. I just was so upset all the time because I could not be with my family. My husband would be gone before I woke up, and then he would, we would be in bed before he got home. So for me, like every single day, that's what I want to do. I want to spend time with my family. So I'm literally every single day, I make breakfast for my family. I plan my post most days. And like Kelsey said, the best thing about being at home and enjoying it is that you get to make lifestyle posts. And, you get to love your life and you get to post about it. And that's one of the luxuries about being at home is that you get to show everybody like, hey, while you're working 9 to 5, here I am. I've earned, to be able to come home to my family and I get to show you, hey, I'm playing in my backyard now. And it's like 2:00 in the afternoon on a Monday. You know what I'm saying? So definitely I plan my posts as much as I can. And then the lifestyle posts, those are really where the gold is, like showing people your actual life, getting people to, see exactly what's going on, letting your potentials get to know you, know what's going on in your life. Okay, so all of my day is split up into power hours. And I'll be honest, some days I take days off. And some days I have to do, kid stuff. I have to do family stuff, and that's okay. Like Kelsey said, it doesn't matter how it looks as long as you're getting it done and you're being efficient with your time. And I like to put everything in the power hours. So maybe a power hour in the morning, and then maybe a power hour after Charlotte. And I'm sending out all of my messages, all of my follow-ups, and I do that mostly at night so that the next day I have messages to reply to. So if you're packing full your power hours, exactly what you're supposed to be doing, if you're keeping yourself organized on that, because I'm not organized at all. I have no green in me, like at all. I'm so unorganized. Like I can show you guys my office right now. It's scary. But I'm making sure that I'm getting my messages sent out. I'm making sure that I'm doing personal development every single day. And I'm making sure that I'm building relationships with my potentials. I don't care if it's liking, I don't care if it's commenting, just, messaging them, telling them that I hope they have a great day. And another big thing that we've been doing lately is everything lies within customers. And, we have taken a next step into writing personal notes for our loyal customers. And that has been a huge, change in our business. Just they're becoming loyal. They order after 3 months. Doing the little things when you're home, but just making sure that you're making time for it. So put everything in power hours if you're overwhelmed and just sit down where nobody's bothering you, and just do it. Just get it all done within that power hour and then have another power hour, 30 minutes, hour, half hour. And that's exactly what my day looks like now. Like I said, sometimes I go to the park with my family. Sometimes I go play golf and go to the pool, but I'm making sure that I'm still getting those power hours in. So that's what
I love the power hour because, like, coming from a set job, like hourly job, like they expect you to work the whole entire time you're there, and so when you come home, you don't want to do anything. So having the power hours, like you don't have to spend your whole entire day working. You're not wasting a day away by just working. You can actually split it up and do what you enjoy it at the same time. I
Yeah.
love it. Kayla, do you want to tell us what you do every day?
Yeah, I mean, my day is really never the same either. You know, I was just sitting here thinking when I was at work for 8 hours a day, like I would always say, like, I don't know why I have to be here for 8 hours. I get so much more done if I'm productive in like 4. Like, because really, like sitting there for 8 hours a day, like I wasn't productive for those full 8 hours. So, you know, I was always like, I wish I could just work from 10 to 2 because then I knew like that because that was my prime time. So now like that, since I've come home, like it's true you don't have to work all day long, which is awesome. But I started off my day with prayer and self-development too. Like Autumn said, whether Austin is running around like crazy or whether you know, I can get up before he does, I just make sure I get that in. My day has to start off with God because it's scary to come home. It is, and it's a mental battle. This business is, you know, 90% mental. And I honestly don't know how people do this business without having trust in God because it's too easy to think about the what if. And so, you know, that's a huge part of my day is talking to God throughout everything. And I do little power half hours too. And you know, when you come home from doing an office job, you're so used to sitting at a desk for 8 hours, and you think that's what your work is supposed to look like, is sitting at a desk and getting things done at a desk behind a computer. Well, when you come home, that's not really what it looks like. What it looks like is just getting it in when you can. And for me, you know, if Austin and I go to the pool, I will sit and do like coaching calls while he's playing in the pool. Or I will, you know, add some people on Instagram, or I'll send out a few messages. But I have to break it up into segments. I can't because, you know, Austin wants a lot of my time. And, you know, me sitting down for an hour is just not realistic because he's going to be tugging at me. He's going to be wanting me to play with him. So, you know, I'm just working in like any little 30 minutes that I can. So, if we get up and we're at home, you know, we'll go down to the basement and he'll play, and I will. These are the things that I make sure I get done every day. Is I add new people on Facebook and Instagram. I message new people, follow up in that too, and post. Like those 3 things I must get done every single day. So whether it's, you know, I'm rocking him to sleep and I'm sending messages, or I'm, you know, adding new friends before I go to sleep at night. Kelsey said something last week at our boot camp that really stuck to me, and it was saying that it's not motivation, it's discipline. It's being disciplined to do these things every single day, doing the things that you know will keep you being successful. So, you know, you can find your motivation through self-development, but at the end of the day, you have to be disciplined to do these things, even when you're tired, even when you don't want to, even when there's nobody telling you have to do these. But if you don't do them, your business will fail. So you know that you have to keep doing those things. But y'all, it's so awesome because sometimes I feel guilty because like I'm so happy being at home, and it's just awesome to see that residual income when you are literally at home with your kids, like doing what you want all day long. It's the best feeling ever. Like I will never regret coming home. You know, sometimes I'll even like take a nap during the middle of the day, and I think, is that okay? But yeah, it's okay because I'm my own boss. And before I fall asleep, I'm adding 100 people on Instagram. So like, it's awesome, but you have to be disciplined to do those things. So my day is, it's like Autumn and Kelsey said, I can't really tell you exactly what I do every single day, but I can tell you that every single day I'm adding new friends, messaging, and putting up posts. And if I can get all of that in a day, then, I've worked my business.
I like it though, because you don't have to have like a certain layout. It's like you can just do what you want. So I like how everyone's different, but it's all kind of the same as well. So the next question I was going to ask is, what's the probably the biggest struggle y'all had like coming home? Was it getting used to it? Was it the fear? I mean, what was it? Kelsey, you want to start?
Yeah, but before I start, I want to say a couple things, and this is going to tie into like what the biggest struggle was. So for me, the biggest struggle, just to answer the question, was learning how to say no to things, because I do have some blue in me. Like I love having fun and I love hanging out with people and like I love like social stuff, and so learning how to say no to things, like, and knowing like I have to work like during this time, and like I like to set hours for myself typically. So like, just like if I had to go to work, like I'm not just going to say I can go to lunch with my friend. Like if I couldn't go to lunch when I was working, you know what I mean? So I think like making sure that you're still treating your business like a business. Yes, it's nice to have the flexibility. Like if your friend's in town and this is the only time you can see her, like, yeah, of course, go, you know, I'm not saying don't do that, but like, you don't need to be going to lunch with different people every single day, you know? And I think that was something that I had to adjust to, because I love that. I love like the social part of it, but like I also had to learn like, okay, like your business needs to be the priority, and not the option. And so that was a big thing for me. But so setting your priorities is huge. So I like to start each morning and setting goals for myself. And I would suggest, because when you work from home, each day it's going to look different, is to start with self-development prayer and setting your goals. Like do that like all in one. Because right when you wake up, you're going to have like the best vision for the day. Okay. And are there going to be things and hiccups that happen? Like, yeah, one of your team members needs to talk and have a meltdown for an hour. Yeah, that might happen. That's okay. You have the flexibility for that. But like setting your goals that, okay, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. I need to get this done. Where do I want to work today? You know, for me, my kids go to daycare. They're super social. They need to go to daycare. And so they go to daycare. And so I like to go to Starbucks, and because also it's blitzing opportunities for me. So like Starbucks and Target. And like when I go to those places and I get to run those errands in the middle of the day, like I see other moms that are out there like at home. I know they're at home anyways. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like how, you know, I talk to them and they're like, what are you doing like in scrubs in the middle of the day? Like, because normally I look like this, like a freaking hot mess. And so that is kind of like was something for me that I like to do, is just set hours for yourself. So write this down. This is really big. This was a huge game changer for my schedule. So I don't remember who said it, but it was so good. And they said, okay, figure out when you can't work this business, like whatever your non-negotiables are. Okay. Your non-negotiables could be putting your kids to sleep, could be making breakfast. It could be the times that you aren't going to work your business. Like you just can't, you won't, whatever. It could be at work, whatever. Write down when you won't work your business. So you won't work your business after midnight. You won't work your business during lunch, whatever those won'ts are. And then write down when you can work your business and work it. You'll have enough hours. I promise you, you'll have enough time, but you have to use that time. Don't use it scrolling. Set timers for yourself, whatever it comes to be. But that was like literally a game changer for me when I kind of mapped that out in like my day. And I said, okay, Deuce has a doctor appointment at 2:30. I need to I'm going to try to get the kids there to daycare before 9, because you know, Matt goes on a walk at 9, and then I need to make sure that I have this, you know, I have this done for my house, or I need to do laundry, which never really happens, but let's act like I do. And then, you know, like all these things. So like I'm planning it out, and I'm saying, okay, so I'm going to have time between 12 and 2, and that's going to be when I'm going to do the majority of my work. But then I also have to remember I'm going to do lunch, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And so my suggestion would also be is not only to set hours for yourself, but find a place where you can work. Okay, you can't work in the middle of your freaking house on your couch in your bed. Like, yeah, it sounds nice, and you can send out a couple of things from there, and you can do a couple of things from there. But the reality of it is if you're laying in bed all day, you're not being as productive. Your mind's not like fully up. It's not fully awake. That's just the reality. And so getting up, getting dressed, making sure like you are prepared and you feel ready, because when you feel ready, you're going to be so much more ready. And so like, I like getting up, getting dressed, like getting out of my bed, like doing that stuff. Because yeah, I mean, there's some days when I take advantage of it and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to milk it in my pajamas. Like I don't feel good today. I'm going to, you know, do that. And I post about that. but that's not every day. And so that your reality has to be like making sure that you are in a productive state of mind.
I love that though, because it makes sense, because I know that if I don't get up and like take a shower and put my makeup on, or at least put something on my face, and have my hair not matted to my head because it's oily or whatever, like I don't do anything when I'm that way. But if I do get up and do something, I might have like, oh, I might just go to the fruit market, or I might go I might go somewhere, so that it does.
And it's so true too. Like, I mean, I'm so guilty of this, and please, like in the comments or raise your hand or whatever, if you feel like it's so much easier to blitz somebody or go up to somebody when you feel pretty. Okay. Like it is so much easier. So get ready, be prepared to blitz. Like people make such a big deal out of like not wanting to blitz or having that fear. But like, if you feel good about yourself, you're going to be so much more confident when you go up to that person and you're like, yeah, like this girl needs to be my friend, and she's going to want to be my friend by the time we walk away from this conversation. I'm not saying obviously you don't have to look pretty to have friends, but like it's going to be like a little bit easier when like you're feeling good about yourself to get to that blitz. So don't, and I don't mind. I have no shame in wearing shorts and a t-shirt with my hair done and my makeup done. Like, I'm not saying you have to dress up and put a freaking sundress on, but I am saying like, make yourself feel rejuvenated, and your rest of your day will go so much better.
Someone asked, what is the best blitz approach?
Okay. So typically like I start off with like, do you work here full time? That's it. That's all I say. I'm like, so do you work here full time? Especially like at Starbucks. And I mean, people at Starbucks freaking know me. Like 8 of them are my customers. So like they love me. And then one girl is joining my team soon, but they're like, I normally am just like, what do you do? Work here full time? And then I just like create a relationship with them, because I know I'm going to be back if I'm in Starbucks. Okay. And they're going to see me, and they're going to start eventually to ask, why the hell are you here so much in the middle of the day wearing scrub clothes? Like they're going to catch on. And so, but like with the Target, if I'm like going up to somebody, or if it's not a barista, like if it's somebody in the Starbucks line, like typically I'll have my gear on, and sometimes I'll just literally be like, what's your favorite drink? And I'll ask them like, what do you get here? And they'll start telling me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, do you get to come here a lot? And they're like, sometimes, like a lot of times it just is easy. They'll flow in and they'll be like, yeah, but it's so expensive. Like, I don't want to buy a $5 drink every day. I said, girl, I used to feel the same way. And I'll start talking about that, and I'll be like, what do you do full time? A lot of times I just like to lead with jobs, because I feel like it's an easy thing. People a lot of times are like happy that they even have a job. So if somebody's dressed professionally, like I will talk to them about their job. And I'll like know, and especially I live in like a smaller town, so most people know like what Ball State is, which is the university here, and I'll tell them about like my husband, and we'll just talk about that. So for me, it's not always like, hey, have you heard of that crazy rap thing? For me, it's just more about like having a real relationship with that person and not being like so pushy right away. And then at Target, like I normally am in the kids section just because I'm shopping for clothes. Unfortunately, it's really bad. Like Cat and Jack like stole all my money. I don't know what happened, but so I normally will just like talk and be like, oh, who are you shopping for? Is this like your daughter? And like I'll say like, sometimes I'll like literally hold 2 things up and genuinely want their opinion. I'll be like, do you like this or this? I can't get both of them because that's just so ridiculous. So which one do you think? And I'll just ask them, and typically they'll just say like, they'll just start a conversation. And for me, it's more about that conversation, and then I'll lead into the business. Typically how I lead into the business is they'll just ask what I do. And I'll be like, oh, have you ever heard of like It Works, or the little wrap that you put on that you probably think don't work? And I'll start out with that. And I say like, that you probably think don't work. And typically they'll laugh and it'll break the ice. And I'll be like, I only say that because I literally didn't think they worked either. So I know that's going through your mind, and you probably think I'm crazy. But don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to like take all of your money or anything. I was just wondering if you've heard of it. And they're normally like, yeah, I've heard of it. Like, I just don't know about it. And I'm like, girl, I would love to tell you some more. Like, I can just tell from your personality, like even from the answer you just gave me about that those clothes, that like that you could just talk to anybody. And that's really all it takes in this business, is just to be friendly and nice and honest. So could you use extra income, or are you like, do you make like more money than you could even know what to do with? Obviously not many people make more money than they know what to do with. So typically they're like, yeah, I mean, I could use some extra money. I'm like, yeah, for these Target runs, I know. Like sometimes I don't even know if I have enough money, which I obviously do, but I just like try to make it lighthearted and just be myself.
That's really cool. I love the approach. You're very like non-business and professional, and I like that.
Yeah,
Instead
and
of,
it's like
doing
be
my thing.
I always say the biggest tip I can give you guys is, like, I tell people that for myself, I'm Kelsey. I am a Christian. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. And I happen to be a networks distributor. And I don't want people to feel any different when they get to know me. And that's how you guys should feel too. It works doesn't have to be your whole life. It just has to be a part of it. And when it's just a part of it, just like being a mom is just part of your life, it's not your whole life. You have a life outside of your kids. You have a life outside of your husband. You have a life outside of all this stuff. Yeah, they might be a huge part of it, but like that is not the only thing that defines you. Don't think of this business as that. Just know that you're a real person and you have an amazing opportunity to offer them. But if they don't want it, that's okay. That's okay. It's not your job to convince them. It's just your job to show them that it's there.
I love that. Autumn, do you want to tell us what your biggest struggle was coming home?
Sorry, talking to myself. Yeah, I do, and I was kind of waiting for this question because I debated what I was going to say, because obviously it's hard for me to talk about because everybody obviously wants to think that their life's perfect and it all went right. But I hope y'all are ready for this because I'm about to get real with y'all. I hope y'all are ready. I'm not going to say this to scare anybody out of coming home, but I just say this to make everybody aware of how important it is to work your business every single day. So I'm going to tell y'all a story. So we saw success super fast, very fast. We made a lot of money very quickly because I worked very hard, very quickly. I didn't let anything get in my way. I didn't let anything get in my tunnel vision. Like, y'all, I had blinders on. I knew that I was made for diamond, got the diamond, was making a way more than average diamond check. And December came along and the holidays came along and I got really comfortable. And that word is something that's like the devil to me. That word comfortable, y'all, I cannot. When I hear it, I just like cringe because you should never, ever feel comfortable in this business. You should always feel growing pains. And if you aren't feeling growing pains, if you aren't struggling every single day to be a better person than you were yesterday, you are not doing it right. You need to reevaluate before it goes downhill fast, because I'll tell you what happened to me. December came along and I got really comfortable. And I just debated telling y'all this because I have not publicly came out and said, yeah, I fell on my face. But y'all hear me talk about struggling. Y'all hear me talk about when it was hard. But y'all are about to hear something I've never told anybody else. And I want to tell you guys because I sincerely care about every single person on the Zoom that is thinking about coming home. Got comfortable and I lost my diamond rank. And I lost my $5,000 bonus. And y'all, I'm gonna cry. Okay. I don't cry on camera, but I lost my diamond rank. And I thought it was okay. I let my family down. I'm sorry. I let my family down and I let my team down. And y'all, when preliminary commissions came out, we made $600. You know that a family of 3 cannot afford to live on $600. And it was the biggest wake-up call that I've ever had, because I knew that God put this business in my life for a reason. And when I saw that preliminary check, and that was the check that we were supposed to be living off of, I just thank God that we made a lot of money before that and put some in savings. But don't ever let yourself feel comfortable in this business, okay? And I'm going to tell you that out of love and out of like complete passion. Just do not let yourself ever feel like you are where you want to be in this business. Always feel like you can grow. Always feel like you can go an extra mile. When you feel like you've sent enough messages, send 50 more. When you think you've put your all into this business, give 10% more, give 20% more, y'all. Because I can't possibly put into words what seeing that preliminary commission check felt like. And I'd already come home and I had already taken my husband out of work. And I don't want to scare you, but I want you to know. I want you to know that that is real and that happens to people in this business. We get comfortable and we feel like we have gotten to where we want to be. And I want you guys to know that I overcame that. I overcame that. We're now Double Diamond and we're making 5 figures monthly. And I will never, ever feel comfortable one more day in this business. And I will continue to work, and I will continue to work harder than I worked yesterday. And I'm still learning, and that's okay. But I promise you, never, ever let yourself just be at peace with where you are in this business. And I only say that with love. So sorry, that was extremely hard for me to share. It was not easy, but I did it anyway because I knew that y'all needed to hear it.
I just want to say to Autumn, like, thank you for sharing that, because honestly, like, it's not easy to talk about, but I just want to like praise God and like look at what he's done. Like, look, like, people don't realize that like 95% of people would have quit at that point. Okay. So I want you guys to look at Autumn and look at if your check has gone down, if your check isn't where it is, where you even want it to be right now, as we're talking. If your prelims came out the other day and you were like, you know what, this is BS. I'm way below average. You know what? Know that God did not put you in this business to be below average. Like, he put you in this business to push you. And like she said, there are always going to be growing pains. And this business is never going to be easy. I tell every potential I talk to, this business is simple, but it's not easy. Okay? Because once you join this business, you are on a journey to be a better person than you ever could have even possibly imagined becoming. You become that person that you've wanted to be, plus way more than you ever thought. And so what I want to share with you is that Autumn just shared a piece of something that she was ashamed of. But her test, that test that she went through, is now her testimony. So don't be the girl that quits. Don't be that girl. Be the girl that goes for it even when it gets hard, because that is what is going to take you to Double Diamond, to Triple Diamond, to Impress, to Ambassador, because it's easy to quit. It's easy. It's easy to give up and say, you know what, it wasn't for me. My team sucked. Nobody was working. All these excuses Autumn could have made. But you know what she did? She said, I let myself down. And she got to where she is now, because if it wasn't for that trial, if she would have just been making average diamond, she might not have been double by now, because she might have just still been comfortable with $2,000 a month. You guys know that those trials don't ever be in a pity party. Don't ever be in a pity party. Praise God in advance for what he's about to do in your life, because when those struggles come, that means that something greater is on its way. Okay? You just have to get to the other side. He's not going to bring you to something he can't bring you through.
Yes. Arnold, thank you for sharing that. Because, I mean, I think that the people that are wanting to come home and can't come home, or just, trying to make that initial step to come home, needs to see the reality in it, because that's what goes through my head. I'm like, okay, so what if? What if? And like I told you the other day, and I'll share everybody else, we were on the phone talking, and I was like, I could come home now. I make more now with it works than I do my full-time job. But to me, it's the thought of dropping a rank or losing the rank. So I'd rather be Double Diamond and drop the diamond than diamond and drop the emerald. So I'm glad you shared that. I didn't know that. And I was going through a lot and putting that on you in December. So you're strong, girl. You're strong.
Let it be your fire. Let it be everything that is pushing you. Let it be. And Kelsey's right. Like, I don't know when I would have promoted to Double Diamond if I didn't feel that, if I didn't have to go through that. I remember just being in my downstairs basement, and I was just like lollygagging around like I was the whole month before. And we checked our preliminary commissions, and I just remember dropping to the floor, almost having a heart attack. And I cried for a long time, and then I got back upstairs. I revamped my office. I put my head down. In the month that we went, and I signed 73 customers. And if that isn't God pulling me, just want to share that. Nicole, are you there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Kayla there? I said,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now. Do you want to share what your struggle was coming home? I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think mine was just more of a mindset, and that's something that I struggle with still now, and I think it'll always be a struggle, and that's why, like I said earlier, just talking to God and doing the self-development is so important because, your mind has to be right for this business. You can't just for me, like there is no way that I could do this business on my own. Like I have to have help from the Lord. Because I go into a new month and I'm always, I always pray and I'm like, Lord, I do not know where these distributors are going to come from. I do not know where these customers are going to come from, but I know that you're going to help me. I know that this work is, as long as I put in the work, that it's going to happen. So I think it's just, having that faith and trust in God and knowing that He's going to carry me through month to month, because it isn't a guarantee. Like if you stop working your business, just like Auden said, like if you stop working, like it will fail. And so it's just trust, is having that trust in Him and knowing that there's uncertainty, but that He's going to take care of everything as long as I am faithful in my walk with Him and that I'm doing the work that needs to be done. So the biggest struggle for me was definitely just getting my mind right and just having that faith and that trust.
I can definitely relate to that because my mind goes 100 different ways when I think about announcing I may be coming home.
And honestly, it is a faith journey for me. And this is the biggest faith journey, one of the biggest faith journeys I've ever been on. One of them was when I moved from, 2 states over to where, to be with JB, and none of my family was here. That was a huge faith journey. And this is another one. I mean, because there's just so much uncertainty. And it's like Kelsey said before, I praise God every day for those blessings that He's about to bring, because I know that He will. So, I'm reading the book Chase the Lion right now, which is awesome. It talks about going after those God-sized dreams and having so much faith. And it's true. And I always this has been on my mind lately, is God has been telling me, give me a reason to show up and show off for you. Give me a reason to show up and show off for you. And I got it from that book, and it's just stuck with me. And so every day I'm thinking like, okay, Lord, I want to give you a reason to show up and show off for me, so I can give you the glory. So every day I'm just putting in that work so to get to that next step, because you can't get comfortable. Like I'm not comfortable. I'm a triple diamond. That's not where I want to be. Like I want to be ambassador. So like I got to keep working, and if I stop, that will never happen. So yeah, it's just having that faith and that trust.
So we're trying to get off so everybody can join the family call if they want to at 10, but we got about 10 minutes left. But I guess the last question, or a statement, I don't know if you want to answer this. So I know personally my biggest coming home, and I know, and normally I'm like a lot like Autumn, so I don't care what people think, and I just kind of prove you wrong whatever you say. So a lot of my family are they support the business, but they're not they don't believe in it like I do. So did y'all have to go through that when you announced coming home and you wasn't working a real job? Because my mom literally gets anxiety and my dad's 100% against it. So did y'all have to deal with that?
Tell your doctor about it.
Oh, I can't wait to answer this question. Okay, so let me tell you something, and this is going to hurt some people's feelings, and this isn't going to be what some people want to hear. But the reality of it is your dreams shouldn't make sense to 95% of the people around you. They shouldn't, or else they're not big enough. Okay. So if everybody was like, oh, that's a great idea, come home, whatever, you'd be like, I need to do something else. Like, I need to dream way bigger. Like, I need to get a bigger house. I need to have some more, whatever. And so you are always going to have that, and you should always have that. But what you also need to know is that that decision is between you and your spouse, between your partner, between you and God. Okay. And you need to know that at the end of the day, like, it is not their fault that they don't fully understand what we have our hands on, but it's also not your job to explain it. Like, it's your job to show them, but it's not your job to convince them. Like, don't feel like everybody needs to be on board with your decision, okay? Because if people are questioning and people are like, oh my gosh, aren't you nervous? Aren't you going to do this? Don't you feel this? Don't you feel that? Well, shit, yeah, I feel all of that stuff. I felt all of that stuff. I get it. Like, I feel that sometimes too. Like, I'm freaking crazy. I don't even know how much, I don't even know how I'm making all this money, to be honest, you guys. Like, it just happened. But like, what I'm here to tell you is that if you don't jump, if you don't take a leap of faith, if you feel in your gut, that gut is God, by the way, if you don't know that, but that gut feeling that you have, if it feels like it's the right time for you, like at your core, when you say, you know what, without the consequences, without everything else, I just feel like I could blow up if I came home. If you feel that, it's time, okay? So what I need to tell you is that you don't need approval from these people. Your job is, the only person you need approval from is God. Like, that is it, you guys. The only person you need approval from is yourself, okay? So if you understand and you see the vision, sorry that those other people don't see it, but at the end of the day, this is your journey. It is Nicole's journey. It is Kayla's journey. It's Kelsey's journey. And so I didn't even ask people, to be honest with you, because I didn't really want to hear it. Like, and so that is like I did ask Erin. I was like, what do you think? Like, blah, blah, blah. And because I just wanted like her honest opinion. And, but I didn't ask anybody that I didn't feel like knew the business, if that makes sense. Because I think when people know you and they know the business, then they can answer that correctly. But at the end of the day, you guys, please know if your dreams aren't going to make sense to everyone around you, but don't be average, because that's what those people are. And I'm not even saying that to like, shame your dad or shame your mom or whatever, Nicole. I'm just saying, like, if you don't want to trade places with the person giving you that advice, then don't take it.
No, I love that. And it wouldn't stop me. It's just the fact that, like, I don't know. I guess me being pregnant, bringing the baby into the family, and then like me coming home, I guess that's what goes through their head. Like, but like you said, they don't even know the business. So how can they that, let alone?
And like, part of it is communication, right? So part of it is helping explain to them what you're doing in bits and pieces. You don't need to have this formal sit down conversation, in my opinion, but just showing them what you're doing on the day-to-day basis is going to help them understand. But also know that, like, whether you come home or not, or what decision you make as far as what you're doing to provide for your family has it doesn't have an impact as to what kind of mother you are, what kind of daughter you are, what kind of, that's just who you are as a person, as somebody who wants these dreams. And if they see these positive changes, and maybe, it's a lack of communication from you and saying, you haven't told them how big you're dreaming. You haven't showed them this awesome positive change that has come to you. Because if they can't see it, it's hard for them to understand. But if they do see it, then they're going to start to get more on board. So don't feel like you have to convince them with your words, but convince them with your actions and with your thoughts and with what you're saying about what's coming for the future. And they're going to have no choice eventually, because you're going to be paying their bills at some point.
That's what I've been doing with Dad. So, that's how I've been working it. And of course, like I said, they wouldn't stop me, but I felt like I should bring that question up, because I know if anyone else is on here thinking about coming home, they're probably going through the same thing, like thinking the same thing. So I did want to bring that up. Did anybody else want to share anything on that?
Yeah, I do. So I agree with everything that Kelsey said. And, look at the Bible, like look back at all those major players in the Bible, and how much like people thought that they were nuts. Like, I think about Moses all the time when he was building that major ark, and, everybody thought that he was nuts because he was building this big boat. But God told him, I'm going to flood. I'm going to flood. And so you have to build this ark because God told him to do that. And so everybody else thought he was nuts, but he was faithful to God. And like, that's what I think it's like, God is calling you to come home and work this business. You better come home and work this business because he has got big things planned for you. And you're going to miss out on that opportunity if you don't. Now do your due diligence, make sure that you have at least some of your ducks lined up, like figure out what you're going to do for health insurance, figure out what you're going to do for, whatever you need to figure out. But then when you've got that figured out, like come home and let your faith be shown. And like Kelsey said, like it does not matter what I didn't ask anybody's opinion. I quit my job and then I told everybody. And honestly, my family was supportive of me. They knew that I had been thinking about it for a while. So, yeah, but everybody else, like my friends, coworkers, like they were kind of like, oh my gosh, like you're quitting your job? Like, yeah, I'm quitting my job. You know how much money I'm about to make? And now even people will still come up to me and say, like, do you miss your job? No, I don't miss my job. Like, I'm living the life of my dreams. So it's just, yeah, I would not give a dang about what anybody else says because the freedom that you can experience with this business outweighs anything about what anybody can say.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Nicole, can I add something?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so another unpopular opinion. But I just wanted to say, like, if you still care about what other people think at this point, and I know that family is very important, the only person that you should be worried about is obviously God. You should be praying to him every single day about the decision you're about to make. But the only person that you should care about is your spouse or whoever you live with, whoever you're sharing bills with. And if you honestly still think about what other people think that are on the outside, you're not ready to come home because there are going to be harder things that are going to happen to you. There are going to be more struggles. There are going to be way more than dealing with what people think. Okay. So for me, like I just put my blinders on. My mom kept telling me it was a scam. My dad told me I was crazy and I was going to end up really broke. And I lost so many best friends. I was, supportive of me. And I just told my mom in the beginning, I was like, I'm going to retire you, just watch. I'm going to retire you, just watch. And I signed up with a fast start, and I signed her up. And now she's making about $500 and she shut up. Like I did that. And, the people that you really care about, it does take time. And, if they don't see it after a while, and they don't, when you're showing them, hey, I'm making money for my family, like you've got to show them. You've got to be like prepared, like your mom and your dad and people that you really, really closely care about. Don't be thinking about the other people that just a bunch of noise. Like you should have your blinders on. You should literally not be looking to the left, not looking to the right. You should be looking straight forward, not in the past. You are going forward. That's the only thing that matters. Just put your blinders on and do it. That's the only way that you're ever going to be successful in this business, especially at home, full time.
I love that. I feel like I'm in church getting preached too, but I love it.
Can I add one more thing? I need to add one more thing because I think it's like a big point. Because I think when you come home, it's really hard, I think, for like, you just need to be prepared to like talk to your spouse and have major communication with them and like what expectations you're setting. Okay. Because sometimes people think like, oh, if you do this full time, you're just going to automatically double like your paycheck or whatever. And I think that like knowing that you're not like, if you don't sign a distributor, if you don't sign a customer, you still have done something to grow your business every single day, Saturday and Sunday included. Okay. Because with this business, you do have the freedom to work it whenever you want, but you still have to work it every day. Okay. And so that is so important because whether that's just posting or whether that means like you're sending out what your minimum messages a day, but like make sure that you have the right expectations set for yourself and you communicate those expectations to your significant other because you do not want it to be a source of contention between what expectations you guys have for what you coming home means. Okay. And because that can be tricky because they can be like, well, what did you do all day? You know, like, I mean, you didn't send a customer or a distributor all day. Like, what did you do? Well, I planted seeds. Well, they don't really get that at first. So just making sure that you're helping them understand. And it's not it's not, they're just not going to get it unless you sit down and you help them understand what it is that you're doing. And so I think that can be, that just had to be said, because that can be a big struggle from people come home full time.
And I love that, because actually, you know, Garrett is the one like, go home, stop. Like, quit your job, stay home. Like, he's been that way since we found out I was pregnant. Like, he's not wanting to pay daycare. We didn't put Sierra in daycare till she was 2. And he's like, I'm not putting her in daycare this early. I can't do it. So just come home. And it's me that's like, oh my gosh, me not working a corporate job. Like, oh my, I've never even considered it. But, you know, we've had that conversation. And I told him, I was like, now, if I come home, don't be coming home to me asking me why the house ain't spotless, because that's not what I'm not here for. So I love that. I love that you brought that up, because
yeah.
that's
And I think like a lot of times it can be scary, because you do feel extra pressure when you come home, right? Because this is it. And so, but you have to trust yourself that you can do this and you can rock it out. And when you strip everything down and you have no excuses, at the end of the day, you have no excuses. You know, it's easy to hide behind a newborn. It's easy to hide behind kids. It's easy to hide behind that full-time job. But what if you didn't make that your excuse and you went Ambassador Diamond because you came home and you did it? Like, you have to find why you want to do it instead of why you can't or why you shouldn't or what happens, what if. You have to find that one reason that is stronger than all the other reasons why you shouldn't or why you can't.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, a lot of people will wait, and they're like, well, my job is so secure. You guys, like, tomorrow, like, your job could say, we don't need you anymore. Or like, your job could just like go away. Like, so stop waiting on like that security blanket, because nothing is secure. Like, no job is like super secure. And that was something that I had to realize, like, you know, God's will is God's will. So whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And, you know, that is one thing that I just had to remember to tell myself, like, a job is a job. If I had to go back to a job, I would go back to a job. But like, I'm missing time out with my baby boy right now. So, like, I'm not going to stop and not watch him grow up because I feel like I have a security blanket with a $45,000 job a year, when now I've quadrupled that. So like, that is not like, I don't know. That's just one thing that, you know, people have that mindset. People who don't understand multi-level marketing or network marketing or working at home-based businesses feel like because they have a 9-to-5 job, they're so secure. Well, that's not really true.
It's not true at all. And honestly, like, the reason the straw that broke the camel's back for me was when I went in and I asked for a $5,000 raise at my job. And I had gotten like exceptional remarks at my like annual review. And it was like, oh my gosh, you did so awesome. Whatever, A+, and like all this stuff. And I was like, okay, well, like, Mac was in daycare at that point, and you guys know how that can be. It's super expensive. It's $200 a week, at least for our kids. And so per kid. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, if I'm going to be doing this and you guys think I'm bringing so much value to what I was doing, then I would like a $5,000 raise. That would mean like a lot to my family. And they were like, it's not in the budget. Okay. And like, at that moment, I literally felt like it was God being like, you're not in their budget. Do you not hear what I'm saying to you? Like, they don't care. And like, I'm not saying that your employer doesn't care about you at every single job. I'm just saying that, like, if you're not in the budget, they can't care about you enough. Like, there's no point of that. So like, coming and realizing that, like, what is your potential? Is your earning potential better with this company if you really commit to it, or is it better with the job that you're at? And you can't live in potential the rest of your life, but it is so important to see that and to really ask yourself that question, because if you don't, you can get to a dangerous spot that Autumn was talking about being comfortable at your 9-to-5. Don't let $30,000 a year stop you from making $30,000 a month. Literally, that's my situation.
Amen.
That's my situation.
Get to the people in the back.
You're muted, Nicole.
Sorry. I said all this has been really helpful for me. Like, I've loved it. It's like, it's all like reality, and it's easier and it's easier to talk to people that know like what we're going through and has been there and has done it, and to get advice from them instead of just, wondering, talking to your spouse that really don't know what you do every day, and trying to understand it. So, I don't have any other questions. Is there anything else anybody wants to add, or is there like an advice you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, whoever is feeling like, it's your time, you're scared that you're not going to make it, just go for it. I have a super, super red personality, and that's my answer for everything. Go for it. Absolutely do it 100% of your mind, your soul, your body, and pray about it and just do it.
Kelsey,
Well, thank you guys for just like having us on. And I just want to let you know that if you're on this Zoom, like you've already like taken the first step because you believe that this is a possibility. And that belief will get you so far. And if you really believe that it can happen, the only thing stopping you is the amount of work that you're willing to put in. And so I promise you that that work is going to pay off. Especially if you have that belief. So kudos to all of you guys for getting on here. Kudos to all of you who've already like taken that leap of faith, because, you got to take a step before God can take his. So I always say, if you take one step, God will take two. But you got to take the step.
thank you all so much for this. I know that I've gotten a lot out of it, and I'm sure everyone else has too. So I really do appreciate it. Y'all taking the time to do this for me. And everybody else.
Bye, guys.
Bye.